Hey, hello, friend. Um, so took another week off. I guess right now I'm doing uh like every other week uploads because my team is meeting every other week, so I don't really feel super required to report in like in a video format on the off weeks. Also, I noticed my camera's kind of being weird, but what are you gonna do? Um, but in any case, I had a really good meeting just now. Just got off. I mean, I guess a couple hours ago, with my team members, and it was pretty good. Um, so we went over a bunch of stuff. Our two guys, for coding, they went over like how to use the repo for us art nerds. So it's a little confusing, but I imagine that it would get easier as time goes on. So I don't see any problems with that yet. So that's good. I'm glad that we got that out of the way. Uh, what else did we do? Da, da, da. I just presented some updates in terms of like what uh we were what I was working on. I've been messing around with some systems in the game. I made some Unreal uh progress actually. So I made uh a character, uh like a like a test enemy that will follow the player character around if they walk within a certain radius of them, and they'll stop and they'll actually just like roam around if the player's not near them. So actually, it's not even a radius. It's like a line of sight. So it's like a cone, which is pretty cool. So I got that working, and then I also made a test where if you touch the enemy, there's a wipe transition that'll bring you to a battle stage, which doesn't work, but for level transition purposes, that's functional. Um, so I was proud of myself for that, and that didn't take very long. So I was feeling pretty motivated, and I got around to thinking about uh, the color system in our game because a big component of our game is that you can flip certain colors on and off. So like red, orange, yellow. Certain things in the game will be categorized into different colors, and you can flip them into grayscale or into color. So I thought that that would be relatively easy to do, um, in my head, and uh, in theory, like the blueprints that I made in Unreal were kind of what I thought they had to be in terms of the workflow, but it was just like a much more complicated process of like getting to that point. Um, and in terms of like how you have to go about using Unreal to do that. So I actually ended up spending like 13 hours figuring out that system. So it was fun. Like I like jumped up and like ran around the room like when I figured it out. Um, so that was cool. I mean, like ideally it wouldn't have taken me 13 hours, but I'm operating from like zero knowledge of like Unreal. So, I'm glad that I actually like made it work. So that's kind of stuff that I've been prototyping and testing. Um, I know it sounds kind of boring. Not that anybody's watching again. It sounds kind of boring and like to like speak it out instead of like show it. But I think that right now like these dev diaries, as I've been calling them, would be are good just for me to like check in weekly, like for like self accountability. And then once my friends and I have like a little bit more um, to go off of and like working materials, then I can do a proper dev log. And I don't want to like compare to like other people's dev logs because I think everybody's like a little bit different. Um, but like the amount of like work that you show or um, like the progress steps is like different per project and like per workflow. Like I haven't been recording anything like as I work. I don't think any of my friends have been recording as they work. So I think when the time comes to present stuff, I just want to show like more finished stuff and like really articulate a clear idea. Since we're not going to be showing any of that progress work, and then if we show like a clear idea and like we'll be able to compare the beginning stages of that clear idea to the end goal, hopefully, which I think would be, I envision it a little bit better than just kind of like showing like devlog 0 or like through like devlog 10. Like I mucked around with this and it's like a 1 minute clip. Like I would like to be thorough and like be able to present stuff that feels more solid, that we're confident in, even if that ends up changing later. Um, so yeah, that's kind of that with like my Unreal progress. Um, I mentioned in the last video that I had done like a homework assignment for my team members, where I told them to like get like a video to present and like from like GDC or something, and we had a discussion about it, and it made for some pretty good conversation. Um, so as in my producer like role, I'm trying to like get everybody to kind of be more collaborative because I have two art friends from college and then two tech friends from high school. So not that they're on like two opposing sides, but there's definitely like familiarity between two people in two different groups, and then they don't really know each other after that. So I'm trying to encourage them to be a little more interactive, like outside of a team uh, meeting setting. So I assigned them this week to like get a video and send it to someone not in their discipline. So each one of them is going to do that in like a circle. So like my first artist friend is going to send it to my first coding friend, who sends video to my second artist friend, who sends it to my second coding friend, and that last person is going to send it back to my first artist friend, if that makes sense. So I'm kind of making like a cycle of like videos. So people are going to send stuff about their discipline to someone outside of their discipline. So like the art friend will send an art video to the the coding friend will send a coding video to the art friend. That way people can learn a little bit more about uh, like stuff outside of their normal scope and kind of like see what other people on the team like value as interesting or potentially important. And I want them to, share those videos and then have a discussion. Like I'm gonna be hands off. Like I'm not gonna say like, oh, like have the discussion at X time. It's up to them to, carve out the time to do that and and have a discussion that's like meaningful, hopefully, and like hopefully get to know each other a little better, you know, um, and just kind of stimulate some of that interaction within the team members that don't normally talk. So yeah, that's kind of the goal with that. So I assigned some more work than normal because I gave everybody like little this little like video project, and then I had people like make like a SMART goal, like something that was specific, um, you know, what is it, like specific, manageable, oh, measurable. Yeah, it's something measurable and like something that's like more like structured in terms of like they can show up to the next meeting and say like I set a goal for this and like I did or didn't do it and like here's why I didn't do it or like here's how I accomplished it. Just so we can have more concrete progress and now that we're like a little farther into it rather than just saying like, oh, like I researched this and it's a little bit, so it's a little less open ended. So they actually like made their goal. Like I still want them to kind of be at this point picking stuff that they find the most interesting because we are still in like the beginning phases. So I want to see like where people find their interest and like what's gonna like facilitate the most learning because I think a big part of like what we're going through right now is like a learning phase. Um, and yeah, I'm encouraging them to play like Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door as well. That's like the last thing. Some of them have played a little bit, some of them haven't. But I think I mentioned it before that it's gonna be a Paper Mario style game in like the genre of like the older games like Thousand Year Door. So um, encouraging them to play just so I think that's a really good baseline for everybody to be like, this is like kind of the direction or like the style that we're gonna be playing in, and it helps with like seeing what people like about it, what people don't like about it, like where we can make improvements. So I'm working really hard to like facilitate uh, conversation and like enthusiasm about the project and like really get everybody on the same page and like working together to like achieve this common goal. So that's kind of what I've been working on. It was a longer video today, but hopefully that means that like more stuff's been happening, which I think it has. It doesn't always feel like that, like the 2 weeks between each meeting. I think I touched on that last video too. Like my anxiety kind of like builds a little bit like between those meetings, but then with each meeting I do feel a little bit better as a whole about the project. So I think that it's going well. And we're like we started on June 1st. June 1st was our technical start date. So June 1st of next year, 2024, will be our end date for essentially like a vertical slice, like this first, like our first major checkpoint. So like I think we're really just trying to see how much we can accomplish in a year. So I guess what I'm saying is we're almost a month through, and I think it's been slow, but I think it's been pretty solid, and like we're still getting to like my teammates are getting to know each other, and we're learning a lot about like the processes of like making a game. Considering none of us have really done it, I feel like if we had all gone to school for it, we could take it a little bit more by the horns. Um, but I want to allow everybody that time to like get comfortable with the project. Um, so hopefully by the end of like the first quarter, like maybe around September-ish, we can start amping things up a little bit, or create like a more concrete timeline of like what we have to do and like how quickly we have to do it. Um, yeah, but I think that we are off to a good start. I'm feeling pretty good about the progress. I feel like I'm a little more enthusiastic. I just get like excited about it. So I like sometimes I want to like do more. Um, but that doesn't mean that the pace we're going at like is bad. I just get a little like excited. So I think that I'm gonna close up here because it has been a longer video. I think it's the longest one yet. That's cool. Um, but if anyone has decided to watch, like I always say, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Um, but yeah, I guess I will see you guys next time. Okay, thanks. Love you. Bye.